putting yourself in a space like this where everything is built to accompany not just the kid, but I think really the family in learning how to move into this new stage. I think it's a really loving environment for that. Thank you for this space. We need this, our communities need this, our children need this. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm happy to hear that, because, yeah, I mean, this is my heart and soul.
The remainder of this conversation will be shared as audio only, as the family wishes to keep their toddler's image off the internet as much as possible. The toddler moved in and out of the video as he was playing in the classroom while the conversation took place.
I don't want you to say what you think I want to hear. just, yeah. I guess we'll start with, like, what have the parent-infant guidance classes meant for you? And, like, how do you see it impacting him, family, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera?
Yeah, I mean, simply, I think the classes are a really wonderful space it just feels like a safe space in every way. You know, it's a space where William is safe. William is provided for in a way that matches his developmental stage appropriately. And you can tell that everything in his environment is there to encourage his mind to learn. And for me, that's really important in raising a kid who I want him to have problem-solving skills. I want him to believe in himself. Yeah, so I think because I know William is in an environment that is so well thought out and experienced, you can tell there's a lot of experience in how to accompany a child through the learning. It makes me feel safe too, to learn alongside with him, because inevitably you're gonna learn the hard way about sharing. You're gonna learn the hard way about falling and getting back up. And as a first-time parent, first time walking this journey, there's so much that goes through your head. You just don't know everything, and so it's just really helpful to have other parents, other kids, and you have a person who so gracefully and in-tunely is able to accompany all the group of kids. And you also asked the effects of the class on our family and on our baby. I think this is one of the effects. I noticed the first two classes, after he came home, he was more courageous, he was more active, he was more curious, like he was more willing to experience that curiosity. And I think also because I was able to be with him in the class, I think it also affected me to be able to see him blossom in a space that allowed him to just be. And be whatever, whoever, and to learn, and it's okay to learn and play. And me being able to see that open up, encouraged, it really helped me have more courage to really go all in with, he's great, give him the space, just give him the guidance as needed. I think my husband and my parents, when they've taken turns, they learned a lot about, oh, Talisa said that when, or I noticed that when this happened, she did it this way and it was really effective. So we're able to, like, it gives us a point of unity too, to kind of co-parent.
Yeah, actually, because then it's not like, well, I think.
Yeah.
And of course, there's going to be elements of that too.
Yeah.
But it's helpful when there's, and I mean, I love being able to share this work, and ultimately where this comes from, of course, my own take on stuff too, but But really, like, this is rooted, this approach of, the RIE approach of doing things has been so well researched and thought out and vetted. And I mean, it started with, the origin of it was an orphanage in Hungary. And the way the pediatrician, Dr. Becker at the time, had, treated all the children, had trained her staff to treat all the children, was very slow and respectful about authenticity.
Yeah.
And I mean, when we think of orphanages, usually we think of the horror stories and stuff like that, but the kids who went through Lotzi for the Bickler Institute were just so well adapted, and like developmentally, all the boxes were checked. And even those who had special needs, it was optimal for whatever their needs were. And so it's, and I think too, what I love about it is that it's unlike a lot of different ideologies and stuff where it's like, you need to do it this way and da-da-da-da because I know best. It's like, well, this is really about slowing down and tuning in with yourself and with your child, and like developing the I guess the regulation of being mindful and what is mindful for my child versus sort of reacting impulsively, right? Or like, oh, this person thinks this and this person thinks this, and what do I do? Slow down, what feels right to you, right? And what feels respectful. And so it is so applicable to so many different settings and cultures and stuff, because it is so much more of an organic way of looking at raising kids.
Yeah, I remember when you handed me the RIE manual, you said that it was basically a set of articles.
Yeah.
So I think one day I was having a question with something, so I thought, let me just flip through this and see what RIE says.
Yeah.
Even though it's like articles, I don't know what I'm gonna see.
Right.
And I flipped through it, and it definitely was like a set of articles.
Yeah.
And even just like little talks by Magda, I think.
Yeah.
But I just remember reading this section, that section, the short sections, and what was said. And one thing I came away with was I felt actually really validated, because I remember reading about, okay, when the kid is going through this, what is really happening, and how do we accompany them, and how do we not think about it, right? And then I thought, this is great. I this is how I do it, and it's really nice to know that what I do, it makes sense for how a kid is developing.
Right.
And they're going through this thing, and it's okay to go through this thing, and it's okay for the parent to go through this thing.
I think, feeling validated as a parent doesn't often happen.
Yeah.
So I'm glad that you had that experience. What would you say to a parent who's considering taking these classes, whatever age their child's at, whether it's starting at 3 months, this space didn't exist when he was 3 months old just yet, but yeah, whether they're starting 3 months or 6 months or 15 months or so?
I think so.
When we started. What would you say to parents thinking about the classes?
Super, super great. I think particularly for anyone who's a first-time parent, highly recommend it. I do think that when your baby is first born, you kind of have to, you're starting a new life. And it takes time to find a groove. And once you feel like you're well enough to get out of the house, or your baby is well enough to get out of the house, I think putting yourself in a space like this where everything is built to accompany not just the kid, but I think really the family in learning how to move into this new stage. I think it's a really loving environment for that. Thank you for this space. We need this. Our communities need this. Our children need this. Yeah.
Yeah, I hear that, because this is my heart and soul. I know this space is new, but where I was working before at the childcare centers and stuff at UCLA and LMU, I've seen how this has impacted families to really build solid foundations. And then we keep talking about, especially in the context of trying to parent maybe differently, whether it's moving away from cycles of family trauma, or just being like, yeah, I don't know about that. I'm looking for something else that feels more, authentic or genuine or respectful or based in like research and guidance and common practices versus like, well, everyone just does this, right? Yeah, I've seen how that's impacted families, and there was a doctor friend of mine who was like, how do you convince the parents who need this the most to enroll in it? Like, it's
good question.
It's not about convincing. I think it's about welcoming, because I don't want anyone to feel like, hey, I know all this stuff, and let me tell you, like, that's not what it's about. It's about like, there's this space where, the phrase is like, it takes a village. Like, this is we're creating the village for parents to feel supported, for kids to
literally
explore authentically,
one family at a time is joining that village. And it's like, I don't know your process in identifying these families, but
figuring out Instagram.
I figure it requires a direct conversation, a one-to-one, like, reading of reality, and like you said, the connection between the hearts and understanding the space to see if that's something that they want to join, because it is an open space, a welcoming space for whoever feels that it's useful for them. But I can tell, like, because right now, just as a side note, we're trying to build community for William, because we want him to grow up in a community that is a community for him, where he feels like he belongs, and the other parents in that community care about all the kids, and all the kids feel like they're a part of a bigger thing than just themselves. Because I think there's a lot of safety and security and even a little selfish relief from being able to rely on others to help. And we're doing that with our neighbors. We have a lot of family, but they all are very scattered, and we don't get to see them very often. And also LA is huge. And what's the definition of community anyways? You have to make your own community. Who is William's community? You have to make it. And that requires fostering a friendship built on slowly building trust. And that really starts from a spiritual side of who we are, and being able to have unified vision in what are we trying to accomplish beyond our material reality, I think. And I think what you're doing is literally the legwork in creating community. And that's something we're still learning about. What is community? What does that look like? How can we bring that for a child who's learning about the world, and create a community that supports them and loves them through all the things? And you're doing it. And I also think of it in terms of like a cohort, like I think about, for William, who's going to be in his cohort, and so my eyes are always open for like, okay, are there other moms with his age that we can learn together? Because it helps me a lot too, and it makes me feel sane, that everything that feels crazy is actually normal, and you can't do this by yourself. It's not made to do by yourself. And I think it's so convenient that you are helping to put a cohort together, basically. The people that William's gonna grow up with, the people that we're all gonna learn together. Thank you.
My vision for this is, and I know we're working on growing cohorts little by little and building that community little by little. I think I was talking about, vision for the space, like a year from now, 2 years from now, etc. And I mean, it's really about the community, right? We're starting with these small pockets with the cohorts and stuff. And something I hear from RIE families who graduated, right? And RIE has been around since the 70s, so they're like adult children who then have children themselves who were RIE babies and stuff. And so you see the intergenerational progress, which is beautiful. But anyway, so something I hear from other RIE families whose kids have graduated and they're elementary school or so is longing for that sense of community, which the cohorts may or may not stay together afterwards and so on. And so what I really want to create is a sense of community that can always be there, and like maybe once a quarter we'll do some like family festival, something, right? So that there's still you have a sense of community within each cohort, and then that extends beyond like, hey, we're all learning about this, and and can support each other and really like expanding the village.
That would be amazing. What a service.
One last question, because you bought my book before he even was a thought.
Yeah.
So how was that for you? When you bought my book, or I know you did audiobook version, which is why I made it, because what parents tend to read.
Yeah.
But yeah. So how was that for you?
Yeah, it's been a little bit of time.
Right. Yeah, I know. It was a while ago.
So not totally. Yeah. But I do remember appreciating the different themes in the book that were also broken up into age-specific like ways to think about things like feeding, education, toys, safe spaces, and also different methodologies. I think you start the book with describing a few different pedagogies for how to think about education for your child, even at a young age. And you seem to be really objective in your presentation of information, which I thought it helps as a parent to just gather information and then the parent decide. Yeah, I think there were some sections that when you become you're in the situation, you're like, okay, I need to go read the books I need to go deeper on this one, which is, it's not super deep, but I think there's like enough information to give you a good start.
Right. Yeah, and that's what it was meant for, is like, compass, right? Just here's a sense to orient you a little bit, and yeah, it's funny, like I wrote this during the pandemic, and I think each chapter was like a rant, but I could easily write like however many chapters I wrote, that many more books. Like it's dive into like, okay, well, what does the quilt learning process look like, right? Like, what are all the different ideas about it? Thank you guys, thank you for sharing and for hanging out with me this morning.
Thank you for creating this space and caring.